All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for all day. The biggest part of this day one for the Luigi's Mansion Boolympics 2022 speedrunning showcase. The Luigi's Mansion any percent no out of bounds relay race done by several, and I mean several runners. This could be really exciting. We've got a bunch of great runners showcasing great talent here. We've got Team A consisting of Dev Games, Bliss, and HD Lax. That's going to be a really fun one to watch because they're all in person, so that's going to be the thing to look forward to. Team B's consisting of Mega Lightning, Splazer, who's stepping in for Flauk. We appreciate that. As well as Joven. That's going to be another big contending team right there. And Team C consisting of Lando, Saria, and Red. So I'm looking forward to this. I am Flair. I'm the main commentator here. I'm joined by my co-commentator, Riedolsk.
Hello guys, what's up?
And we're going to be getting the show on the road. All the runners are ready to go, yes?
Yep.
I'm ready.
All right. Fellas, we're going to count down from 3. You're going to go on go. All right?
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty, and we're off. So, yep, as Flair mentioned, this is kind of like our big event of today. No Advance Relay Race. I believe we've had a couple of these in the past before. Am I correct on that?
I would say I do believe there have been a couple of relays like this in the past, but this is probably the biggest that we're going to have it. Yeah, we've got 3 teams, 9 runners. We got Dev, Mega, and Lightning. Dev, Lando, and Mega Lightning going for areas 1 and 2. And then we're swapping over to area 3, which will be done from Saria, Splazer, and Bliss. And then area 4, the culmination, which is going to be done by Red, Joven, and HD. So it's going to get super competitive towards the end. And the nice thing about this is, you know, we get to see a bunch of different, we get to see some different strats. Everyone's kind of within the low 58 and below times here. So there's a lot of high skill ceilings here for this race. It's going to be a great showcase of all the kinds of strats and skills used by the various different runners. And it's also going to be a great technical showcase for us because this is a hard thing to coordinate. And I know that this is going to look really, really nice.
Definitely, and I'm really impressed with how close together these teams are in skill level. Organizing something like this when we have so many runners available really just goes to show how strong the community is right now.
Absolutely, and you know, it's a great showcase too if their area 1s are really close, because when you separate the sub 1 players and the players who play above sub 1, the area 1 times are very consistent. You can see the kinds of skills that are showcased by runners at that level. So that is always the very, very cool thing to see. As we move through into Wardrobe Room, we're going to be seeing some fun things here. As we've mentioned before in other runs, we've been talking about the garbage ghosts and the fact that they don't have a hitbox. You can just walk into them and grab some doubles. That is always fun ways to see how the game has developed over the years and how you can manage doubles. Those are always the main things when you play Hidden Mansion. For those who don't get Hidden Mansion in NTSC, who were also not here for PAL earlier, in NTSC and JP and PAL, the main thing about Hidden Mansion is that it's basically a new game plus, and your vacuum is a lot faster and a lot stronger than it was in your normal playthrough. Versus in NTSC and JP, you just play through the same rooms again with the same ghost spawns and same boos, and PAL was different. If you guys caught that run done by Pablo, it was a really, really awesome run. It was basically record pace for a while there. It was pretty cool. And basically, we're just going through here, playing the game as intended. No need to go out of bounds. That's why we call it no out of bounds. We're just going to be seeing the runners play through the game as fast as possible without having to use the out of bounds play.
Yep. I'd say if we used on a bounce, it'd be a very short relay.
Be a very short relay, because who knows how you would do that.
Yeah, how
you have one runner do Chauncey Key, have one runner do first and second skews and get through Biff Clip and all that stuff. You have the third runner do Kimbu, I guess. That'd be an interesting relay.
For those who don't know, there's a out of bounds clip right after the first boss. Really crazy.
Yeah, there is a lot to do there with the out of bounds glitch, being able to clip through the wall and then go straight toward do a couple of what we call skews, get through a couple of barriers, and then clip our way down through Biff's room down to the bottom. But in this category, that was the original any percent before that trick was found. You just play the game as intended. Get 40 boos, get all the Portucos that you need to get, and go fight King Boo. Right now, we're seeing the runners go for what we call Laser Crusader, the brand new trick that has been raved about so much. Basically, in this game, when you stand towards the left side of the wall inside of Chauncey's room away from the crib, the actual cutscene trigger doesn't hit Luigi there. Or, well, there's a text box trigger there for Chauncey when you actually do rock the horse around. And so we are able to pull the ball around, use a visual / audio cue for Chauncey. We were able to launch the ball at him without having those text boxes appear. Optimally, that saves about a second or two, so it is extremely vital now. It's basically a very free strat that everybody does go for sure. So that is always something very nice to see as we move into the first boss ghost, Chauncey.
Yeah, Chauncey, the only boss ghost that you cannot one cycle. We're still looking for it. One day.
We are still looking for the one cycle, that's for sure.
So you'll see them drain Chauncey to about 50 HP. Any farther below that, they'll get an extra cycle of rocking horses sent at them, so we don't want that. They'll drop Chauncey just a little bit higher.
Absolutely. Getting another cycle is what Pablo calls slow, so we don't want to upset Mr. Pablo, who's currently sleeping, I believe, so roll around in his sleep, knowing that we're going slow, we're not on perfect pace. You're going to be seeing the runners manipulate the way they move around in order to actually have the rocking horses charge them as fast as possible. They're going to get hit by this one, so that way they have invincibility frames here. They're going to also knock on the wall to elongate the invincibility frame so they can grab this ball catch, the second Chauncey ball catch, without actually getting hit, and this will allow them to drain the rest of Chauncey's health pretty quick.
And just like that, we're heading out of Area 1 already. The shortest area in the game.
Shortest area in the game. We're going to the second shortest area in the game. Area 2. I'm pretty sure it's the second shortest. I'm trying to think about that in my head.
Yeah, it's definitely either that or Area 4.
I think Area 4 just barely has A2 beat. The boost can get pretty bad in A4.
Yeah,
that's where
true.
the run picks up. Sometimes in this category, it can definitely save a run, but it will definitely pick up after this race is done. We'll move over to the 100% race, and that's where boos matter a lot, and that's where A4 matters a lot. Is in Area 4. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I have some comments to make about that later as well when I get to commentate that. So, moving through, we're not going to be seeing any switches just yet. And these runners will play through the next area in Area 2, and then after they beat Bogmire and get to these portraits, then we'll be seeing the switch over to the next runner's layout. Moving to Area 2, things are going to get more interesting because we actually have something to talk about, as well as just some other fun RNG aspect things that get introduced into the game, mainly being boos and all the fun that they bring us inside this game.
Absolutely, definitely one of the biggest time variables in the run. Absolutely, is boos.
And it's also one of the more interesting things when it comes to skill, because learning to actually read your boo radar in order to get a good read has become a pivotal role inside of being able to save as much time as possible when you are searching for boos and when you do set up for certain tech skips that we'll see a little bit of. We'll see if runners get setups for that as well, but we'll see that in a couple of minutes. First things first, we're going to have to get through the first set of actual massive RNG in the run, known as early release. So I want Riddle's take. Who do you think is going to get ER?
ER? Well, I think Dev Games has got it.
Lando and Mega don't get it?
Nah, dude.
So something I'm going to be seeing here is that Lando's going to be setting up for the 6-piece, Mega Lightning's going to be setting up for the 6-piece, and I think Dev's going to be trying to set up for the 6-piece. Dev was learning it, is very rusty at it, so I don't blame him for going for Shy Guy doubles. Everyone else is going to go for Shy Guy 6-piece. I do believe Lando got Shy Guy 6-piece, as well as Mega Lightning. So they're both going to go on to that. We're going to see if that's going to aid them in early release or not. If Dev gets early release and the other two don't, they'll basically just be around the same pace. Lando did not get it, but Megalini does get early release. We're about to see if Dev Games is able to get early release as well. And he is going to get early release, so that's going to save him about 10 seconds there.
So I'm 2 for 3 on my prediction.
They are 2 for 3. I was 0 for 3 because in my mind, no one gets ER. That's just how this game works. You don't get ER. And if you don't get ER, you get tech skip. If you get ER, you don't get tech skip. So we'll see how that goes once we move into the parlor room coming from here. You're going to be seeing the runners go up to that corner there, and they're going to be moving a little bit awkwardly. That's actually them grabbing onto the poster that lies just ahead of the room that you can't actually access going up close, but we are able to stretch it far enough to grab it, and we're able to do what's called either early poster or poster skip. It's not really a skip because you're not skipping anything, but that's why the name early poster kind of came about, because you're able to suck off that poster early, and you can do it. You can save time by that because you're doing it in the middle of ghost spawns. So that is able to get this bun up early.
There's definitely a lot of debate on the true name of that that strat.
I think Mega Lightning there got like a 9:48 release time when we account for stream delay and all that stuff. So that's a really, really great time for him.
Yep, all these runners very close to the 10-minute mark there. Still very close, but that's all about to change once we see these boos.
We are going to get into the fun thing known as boos in this game now that we have released all of them and King Boo and the boos are out running rampant inside the various rooms inside the mansion. First room the runners are going to be going to is the parlor room, and there is a specific thing that we set up for called tech skip. There is a table in the room that has a cloth on it, and in this game, when you suck up a boo and then immediately suck up a cloth, you're able to skip the EGAT text that will follow, whether it's reused text talk about the boo, or with this one, it saves a lot of time because EGAT has exclusive text for the first boo. Megalini does have boo text skip RNG here in the parlor room. You will know if runners have it for sure because there will not be a lump inside that table, which could mean a boo is there. Dev does have a lump, so it's possible that he does have it. Megalini's going to set up for it, gets it. Lando getting the RNG. We're about to see if Dev gets RNG for it, and he is going to get RNG for it, so all runners will be able to set up for tech skip, and he's going to be able to nail it. So nicely done from all of them.
It's really good to see. You hate to see the boo actually show up in that table. It's the worst
Absolutely.
one.
Lando and Megalini got some decent RNG. Dev getting, I believe, worst RNG on this boo in answer room. Worst RNG is actually searching each one of them, and the boo's on the far left, and the middle one or the right one is a decoy. It wastes the most amount of time. Dev up to a rocky start, but still showcasing the things that can go absolutely wrong about the first 5 boos. They are very RNG dependent because they can be in any one of like 4 to 5 any one of these 5 spots, and 4 spots they could switch, or you could find the boo ball and you could waste a bunch of time on that. So Megalini pulling ahead visually thus far, so that is something to point out. Now, none of the runners are going to be going for it, but there is something that I believe is actually called Stupid Strat, which is a variation of a boo double, where you actually double the boos. You get RNG sufficient enough to set up for a boo double from the ballroom boo and the storage room boo. So the way boo doubles work is you basically go for 2 boos at once, and you're able to only get 1 text out of them. But it's extremely difficult and extremely unlikely that you get the RNG set up for it. But the way you would do it is you would spawn 1 boo in a room, you go to the next one, find it, and then manipulate the boo to try and get out as fast as possible, and then you drain the health of both boos pretty quick. Usually you need the boos around the same health, otherwise you'll only suck up one of them, and the other one will go away. You're going to see that probably in 100% from Joven, and we'll get to that towards the end of that run. And that would be the only place where it's actually super duper viable, but in this one, I'm pretty sure it's called Stupid Strat.
So now the runners are headed to the mirror room. In this room, we're going to get the first of the 3 elements in the game, fire, which can be used for a couple puzzles in the game. As well as a couple other pieces of tech. So, Flair, would you like to talk about the tech that we can use with the elements?
Well, the first thing we're going to be talking about is that we can actually start doing some cool things with art pumping. Even though we have already been art pumping boos, kind of, we're going to be able to do that more often with these boos as well. We'll be seeing that used a lot when we get the ice element, and we actually use ice on certain boos. Definitely elongates how long we can actually art pump boos, which is always nice to see. Mega Lightning getting really great RNG there from the boo in here. We're going to be seeing as well what is known as Fire Warp. If no one else was here earlier or doesn't know much about this strat here, basically what we do is we suck up the boo, we grab the element, and when EGAD tells us about the boo, we save warp. We do a save and quit. It actually saves us some time, gets us on a good butler cycle, and also allows us to skip out on a couple of random, not random, a couple of really dumb puzzles that we are able to skip. There's a torch one inside of the mirror room that we get to skip that would unlock the door. This one we can't skip, but this is basically the same, just here.
So after this key, the runners are going to go and light the candles from the butler. This is one of the most difficult sections of the run for newer runners.
Absolutely.
Lots of tight execution in this whole area.
That is very, very true. It is tight to land on the butler cycle because if you get a bad butler cycle, you have to wait more time. But the other thing as well is you have to play really well in order to optimally get the butler on the cycle. Ideally, you want to be there just as he's ready to be, just as soon as he's vulnerable. But the thing there is you have to play really well. So there's certain strats that we've set up for this room in order to do things to get us to that next step in order to get an optimal butler. So you'll see the butler walk through this room and he'll head into his actual butler's room. And what he'll do with the candle is he'll go to put the candle on. He'll take some time to do that. And that's when we'll be able to go through and he'll be vulnerable and we'll be able to suck him up. Now, the thing that's difficult for early runners and newer runners is that if you don't play it optimally, the butler will actually finish doing that and then he'll disappear, which means you'll have to go all the way back outside and wait for him to come through again, which wastes a horrendous amount of time.
So you see the runners scanned a mouse hole when they came into this room, and that's because this boo can be caught while going through the mouse hole to skip the call that EGAD usually gives you. And that is a JP exclusive glitch.
It is a JP exclusive glitch. If you try doing this on PAL and the English versions of this game, or the NTSC version, really the English version of this game, what you'll end up seeing is that when you catch the boo and you stand in front of the mouse hole, Luigi just doesn't go through it. But in JP, he does. As for why this is the case, I don't know. The releases from JP and NTSC are extremely close to each other.
But that is one of the reasons why we play Japanese.
Oof, Lando and Mega did that like super close to soft locking. That is one of the only periods in the game, one of the only couple of times in this game that you actually could soft lock from doing speedrun tech. As Lando spawns a poison mushroom and loses the boo! That boo's gonna go up into kitchen. That's really bad. Oh, that's so bad. So, a rule that we've installed here for this relay race is that if any runner in an area loses a boo, they must collect that boo before they move on to the next area. And so Lando will have to go out of his way either through a save and quit or something to that effect in order to go back for mirror room boot or to go for laundry room boot later. That's a really unfortunate poison mushroom spawn that he had. So he's going to be down a boo as he heads into Melody. Well, and Mega Lightning not too far behind, not too far ahead of him, and Dev Games a little ways behind, but still catching up. But back to my point about soft locking. So with that mouse hole there inside of the butler's room, or vice versa, but usually just with the butler's room, if you grab the boo and the suck up ends on the same frame that you actually go through the mouse hole, Luigi would get stuck in the wall and there's nothing you can do. You'd have to restart the game. Which in a speed run from mirror warp, from the from the fire save and warp, you would actually have to spend about another 2 minutes going through all of that again. So that does lose significant amount of time. It's basically a run killer if you're not in a tournament race / race situation.
Yeah, so thankfully that did not happen to any of our runners here.
Lando getting middle RNG there in Melody Boo. Something you'll see, and something that's interesting to point out here about Melody's room and then in Area 3, Nana's room, is they are actually the widest rooms in the game, and they have the most objects to traverse through. The Boo RNG is extremely difficult in these rooms because what can happen is you try pulling the Portrait Ghost to one side of the room, whether that's the left, the right, or the middle, and the Boo can be not where you pull up the ghost for. So in Melody's case, since she's on the far right side, you pull up to the top right and check that cabinet. If it's not there, the worst RNG you can get is that's all the way on the other end, either on the saxophones or in the harp. And the even worse RNG would be if when you go over there, you've waited so long the Boo actually switches all the way to the other side, which can happen frequently in Nana's room. That is a really common case because there's not as many objects to search through, so the Boo reading is much more quick, but you still need to spend time running over from one side to the other and wasting the time to do that. Middle RNG is always nice, but ideally runners want top right RNG depending on how they pull either one of those ghosts. We also have now been introduced to our second element, water. The water element is going to be used primarily in this for putting out fire, and as well as dealing with a couple of elemental ghosts.
Yeah, it's not used very much in the run. I believe it's the least used element of the three.
It's the least used element of the three in this run. I would say that it's probably one of the... I think all of them are equally used in the max percent category, but I would say water gets way more praise than max percent because you actually need the water element to water plants and stuff outside to gain money. That's a very specific category that happens. But other than that, water only ever gets used in 100% for watering the plant and all of its other normal use cases. So fire and ice are definitely the most used. I think fire by far is the most used element in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
We're now heading into our second area boss, known as Bogmire. We're also approaching now the period of time where we will be seeing the swap here from perspectives on Team B and C. Team A will not require one since Dev Games, Bliss, and HD are all running in person, but their rules still apply. I believe Lando also did get Laundry to stay inside of Kitchen, which was nice, so he should be good to go.
So the thing with Bogmire is notoriously difficult to capture in one cycle. We see many that actually dropping Bogmire there. The angles you need to pull back on are very precise.
Yeah, the thing about Bogmire is he can have very difficult pulls, and Lando's also going to break it. I think Dev has this, but we're going to find out. I think all runners might actually drop it. Ooh, Dev's going to get that one cycle. It's really hard. You will see the separation between skill points from players when they do go through all of that stuff. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy, the kinds of pulls that Bogmire is capable of, and also the pulls that he's capable of when it's just that easy and that's that free.
So Team B pulling out of Area 2 first. They'll be switching over to Splazer now to take on Area 3.
They will be swapping over to Splazer here in a moment. Lando will be done here in a moment as well, and we'll be swapping over to Saria's perspective here as well, so we'll be getting those ready to go. Splazer stepping in for Flauk, who unfortunately had issues with the Canadian ISP. I don't remember what their name is, but they did have massive outages across Canada today, and so unfortunately he was not able to make this, and will also not be able to make the next point of this as well. So there is that as well. 100% race he will not be making, but
Right, so they're swapping over right now. Getting ready for that Area 3, which is the longest of the areas, I believe.
yes, it is absolutely the longest of the three. There is a lot of rooms to go through. There's a lot of cutscenes to get through, and there's also just a lot of exposition about the game in general. So Lando will be stopping there, and we'll be swapping over to Saria's perspective. I believe we've already done that.
Yep, sorry, it's on Area 3.
Aria is on, so we're just waiting to get Splash's perspective. I believe it's still live, so we're gonna get that ready to go.
So while we're waiting for that switch, we can see Team A is looking into the... What room is this again? I forget all the names.
This first room we're in, I mean, this is the altar that we are in. We are in the well, but we are peering into the altar, and we're seeing that Kimbu is up to no good. We're seeing him staring at this painting of Mario who's trapped inside of it. Oh no, what are we ever going to do about that? We're going to have to wait like half an hour before we can actually go do anything about it. So as for now, we're just going to be staring at it in disbelief that Mario's been trapped inside a painting. Oh no. So you're going to be seeing Bliss up in Team A's corner. We'll have the name changes there in a second as well if possible. He's collecting some items here. He collected a letter. We saw the runners also collect a Mario hat in the last section. These are all items that we will be collecting throughout the rest of them throughout Area 3. We will be taking them to the person known as Madame Clairvoya. She is a fortune teller ghost in this game, and basically we will go through what we call Clairvoya mashing, where we basically just mash through all the text that she tells us about the various items, what they mean, and how this kind of relates to the story in a way that this game has. And we'll be getting to that later. So as for now, we're entering the tea room where we will be introduced to the last element this game has to offer, which is known as the ice element.
So ice has one unique property that the other elements don't. It can freeze like booze in place. So we'll see, possibly the runners use that to their advantage to stall them a little bit.
This is another scenario where you can see the possibilities for a tech skip if you get the proper RNG for it. And sorry I lost that boo into Nana's room.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I saw
That's
that.
not a fun one. There's a lot of things that can go wrong if certain boos leave at the wrong times in Area 3. We see, if anybody's followed up with the No Out of Bounds tournament that we've been doing every year, especially with this year, there was a run recently that Joven did where for some reason he had Nanaboo leave and it looked like it actually traveled down when it traveled back up. So, you know, we misread it and didn't know where it was for a while up until the end of Area 3. So there is that to keep in mind.
Yeah, they can be very deceptive.
Can be extremely deceptive. Not Dev Games. Bliss there getting a nice Nana. Sorry, I was just right behind him. Splazer just completed Nana's boo as well as seemingly from a visual perspective, he's pulled ahead of Team A, which makes sense. Dev did have, unfortunately, some mishaps there in Area 1 and 2, so Bliss is going to now play the catch-up game a little bit to Splazer. But sorry, it's not too far behind of him visually as well. I'm not really sure where their pace is, but still, sorry is making do with what he has. He's getting left side RNG inside of Nana's room. This could be really bad, but he's not. It's not wasting enough time for forcing a boost switch, so he will be able to keep it there in that spot. He'll be able to do this. So the thing that's nice about ice is that it does actually stun the boo for a while. So what we do here is we'll take that time that we stun the boo over to around 50, around half of its HP, usually around 45 to 50. We'll go open that chest. We'll then do the rest of the boo, and we'll grab the key. We'll head our way out. That's the most optimal way to set that room up. It is also so that you can leave the room faster, because when you are sucking down on the ghost, you can actually just keep holding down the R trigger, and you can pull the key closer to you, which allows you to leave just a little bit sooner. Just a little optimizations like that have definitely saved time over the course of the game's history.
So now the runners are moving into one of my favorite parts of the run, Moonshot. So we'll see how many tries it takes Blazer, hopefully first try. The angle for this is actually harder than it looks. So definitely worthwhile to take your time setting up for it. Don't want to miss.
Much harder than it looks. So Splazer, we're gonna be trying to see if he's got it. I think he has it.
That looks
That
good.
Yeah, he hit
Yeah,
it.
good to
It
go.
looks like it hit bottom left.
Yeah.
For sure, it hit bottom left. I know that his screen's hard to see, but this is how we're gonna make do. Splazer originally had to drop out of the relay race from Team C, as well as his as well as the PAL run from earlier, because his computer has unfortunately become unusable, and so he now has to opt in with this to save Flock from a very strange predicament of no internet using a mobile stream. So Splazer coming in, we do appreciate doing that. Of course, setting this up, so we're making do with what we have. I believe everybody got first moonshot there, so that's really good. Sorry, he's gonna nail that one as well. Bliss nailed it as well, so that was great to see. As we've now collected the 3 of the 5 Mario items, 4 Mario items, 5 Mario items.
Yeah, there's 5.
So we have the hat, we have the glove. Oh yeah, we haven't gone to projection room, so we have 3 of the 5 right now. So we got 2, got the letter outside in the courtyard. We just got the star. We're gonna be getting the glove in projection room here. That's the next room we're heading to, and then we will get the last thing, which is Mario's boot, the twins room.
Mario! Mario!
So much like the mirror room, we are going to be getting a room where we actually have to deal with the hider ghosts in this game, or what we call the grabber ghosts, because their gimmick is that they grab and you have to shake them off. Now, with the mirror room, we are able to see the reflection in the mirror, but in this room, we have to use their shadows on the ground with these specific grabber ghosts. So that's the gimmick of this room. We set this up in a way where we can get consistent doubles and triples, and that's kind of the way that room works, and everybody usually makes that work out. Sometimes it can get kind of interesting, but for the most part, you're able to make that one work out. I think Bliss got a boo switch there, so boo charges. We're gonna be seeing if he actually goes for what's called a funny text, but I'm not too sure. He did get funny text.
Funny text, what's that?
So funny text is, hold on, watch. So watch Bliss as he walks up the stairs. Funny text is when this text appears on screen. So what happens is when you actually catch the boo, the first frame that you actually, the only like frame that you have to actually move Luigi, you could walk into the glove, and when you pick up the glove, EGAD actually gives you the boo text call. So that stores that text, and the only time it'll play is when you actually reload into the mansion and go up those stairs. That's what we call funny text. I don't know, Splacer got it. I was not paying attention to PLV. I know, sorry, it didn't. Star's going to get a nice baited charge there, as the runners are going to head up towards the top there in order to grab a fire element, which will be useful for finding out where the twins are in their puzzle minigame. Basically, the way that their game works is they will hide inside a bunch of boxes. I forget what these boxes are called, but basically the ones that shake have the twins in them, or one of the twins in them, and the ones that don't. If you are to go for one that doesn't have a twin in it, you lose the minigame. You have to go back outside and reset the minigame.
Displays are getting a very nice twins double there.
Twins double is an really difficult strat to go for. You have to set it up in such a way where you are able to do this. I think Bliss is setting up for it too.
Looks like it
is. Yeah. So the way you do this is you manipulate. Okay. I was hoping that he was. I was hoping that he was going to get that, because for a second it wasn't looking like he was going to be able to score that suck up there. Sari's going to go and opt for single twins. Knowing Sari, I know that it's not a strat he goes for. It's a really advanced strat that higher level players are going for. It saves time in the long run, that's for sure. And we're also going to introduce, it's much safer to go for singles. Double is really hard because anything can go wrong. You can get really bad movement RNG if you're not sure of where, I believe it's Orville on the plane, if you're not careful of where they are. Sorry had one of those things where you spawn the boo, grab the boo, and the boo immediately leaves the room. So he's gonna finish grabbing this boo out here. We also now that we are past the 15 boo mark, we are also now introduced to the last piece of really disgusting RNG inside of Luigi's Mansion, which is known as boo text RNG. So instead of being recycled the same short text from EGAD, we are now going to be recycled several different texts from EGAD that can range from being short text, which is the fastest, to Van Gogh text, which can lose up to 5 seconds compared to short text. And the way this works is completely random. EGAD will recycle the same messages to you over and over again every time you catch a boo from here on out, outside of boo losses, and it's all RNG. You can either get short text for the rest of the run, or you can keep getting Van Gogh text for the rest of the run. These plays are now inside the clairvoyant mashing section, which is everyone's favorite section of the game because it's the point at which your hands and shoulders begin to crumble.
And we'll see all the runners catch up together at this point.
This is also a point where the skill ceiling changes from players who do mashing, because mashing is a huge part in this, as we've stated, and the way you mash can severely affect how much time you lose or save compared to other runners or your own run.
Yep, because both the A and the B button will help advance the text. So there's definitely some strategies to press both those buttons as fast as possible.
There are some methods. I know the HD's method is he will take his index and his thumb, he'll put them together, and he will also take his thumb from his left hand, and he will just rattle the controller around and get A and B presses that way. Splazer way back when used to take a 9-volt battery and would just go back and forth, or like a double A or something, and would just go back and forth on it. It's kind of a variation of what Red Mountain does, where his mashing will consist of taking, or at least one of his old mashing methods, I don't know if he still does it, he would just take his like thumb and index, and then he would just go back and forth really fast. He would just like shake his hand between the two buttons back and forth.
Very unique. Definitely a lot of different strats. Didn't know it varied that much.
It can vary that much. It's extremely personal preference. I believe the fastest mashing, though, goes to HD and Jared. They definitely have the fastest mashing out of all the runners. Their mashing is unmatched, and that's mostly because of how much time they've had to perfect that specific strategy and how long they've played the game. So they've definitely built up the speed for it. As Bliss's boo immediately left the room. Wow, that thing acted like a pal boo. Oh my goodness. I've seriously have not seen that before.
Goodness.
Where you lose clairvoyant boo. I believe that's because of another dumb mechanic this game has called auto locking. So there are objects like hearts and pearls in this game. Pearls are money, and hearts are hearts. And when you spawn them, and other money too, for that matter, what ends up happening is your vacuum ends up taking, for some reason, has priority on certain objects, and it will take those into account. And basically, you will have items. You will lose focus of the boo, which will cause it to either double cackle or, you know, in some cases I think triple cackling is a thing. I'm probably wrong about that, but there are instances where he will just cackle a bunch and he will leave, because boos only have 15 cackles, and so that's why we are pumped to savor those cackles and hopefully get the boos in one cycle. But when you auto lock onto objects, it makes the boos way more susceptible to actually leave the room, which I believe is what happened there to Bliss. He auto locked into the pearls from Clairvoyant, given the boo spawn that he had, and boo booked it. For rare instances, sorry, it does miss one of the two Garbage Ghost and Elemental Twirler doubles there. This is another room as well where soft locking can be a thing, because what can happen is on that last Garbage Ghost, you will pull towards this chair at the bottom, and if you pull it in such a way, you will actually throw yourself behind the chair, and there's no way to get out behind the chair. So that's another soft lock that exists in the game.
Now our runners are moving on to the third boss of the game. This is Boolossus. comprised of
boy.
15 smaller boos. There's a one-cycle trick runners will be trying to do to catch him very quickly.
So what we'll be seeing here, if we look at Splasher's POV, he's going to be manipulating Bulasis to bounce around 2 times right up the top of this and pop himself on the sharp point there of the ice statue. So he's going to grab the ice element that spawns here, and he's going to be backing up, holding the vacuum at a very specific angle. What he's going to be doing is going to be running to the other end. He's going to load up the ice, and then he's going to spray in ice shots, and then spray around the boos as they come back. He's going to be able to one cycle there. Camera zoom in. It's a really nice one cycle there from Splazer Games. He's going to conclude his Area 3 adventures and move over and hand the baton over to Red Mountain, or I'm sorry, to Joven. And we'll be seeing Joven take care of the Area 4 gameplay here in just a brief moment. As now, Saria going to be attempting to go here for the same kind of thing, getting a nice ice boost shot here. All runners not getting really bad RNG. There's another thing of, oh my goodness, there's a 14
Wow,
high shot from
jeez.
Saria. Wow. That was nicely done from him. Bliss going for a half-court shot. Ends up missing it, so he's got to spray. I don't know if he's going to get a one cycle. It's going to be extremely difficult. He's going to have to get one of these boos on a lucky ice shot. And he's not going to, as he's going to have to opt for a 2 cycle. Just 2 boos left. He went for a half-court shot. It's a really hard strat that Zircon found more recently. Zircon equals 16. And basically, if you get lucky enough, the boos will all just clump up together by the time you're halfway through the court, and it's a faster Bulasis, but it's extremely inconsistent because the boos don't clump up like that. As Bliss, Joven is coming up here in just a second from Team B. We'll be seeing Joven hop over onto Area 4 gameplay. Not too bad from Bliss, though, all things considered. So that is something they can look forward to, as Bliss will be handing the baton over to HD. We'll be seeing some high-level gameplay from HD, Red, and Joven as Splazer ends his stream, picking up the phone and ending it right then and there. Classic Splazer Games. Gotta love it from these Splazer Games.
So we have Area 4 coming up here. Would you like to tell us about what happens in Area 4, Flare?
Area 4, we get introduced to the dumb things that boos do, known as higher health boos. And so with this, the thing that happens is we are now introduced to situations where we have to, and I mean have to, be very intricate with our one cycles. We'll be seeing runners go for breaker boo one cycle. We have different ways to set this up. We have wall strat and drag strat. We'll be seeing the runners go for this. Basically, the goal is that they drag the boo enough that they can actually art pump the boo enough times in order to get breaker boo down. Breaker boo is the hardest boo to one cycle in the game, and it will show why once we get towards that. The other thing here
very
is
difficult trick. Not advised for beginner runners. We actually take a different route.
Absolutely not. If you don't go for beginner runners, not going for breaker boo one cycle, you will opt for the Vanguard boo, which if you do that very optimally is a nice 2 cycle, but in most cases probably a 3 or 4 cycle.
So, yeah, what makes Breaker Boo so difficult? The Breaker Boo has 200 HP, but we only have 15 cackles to work with, which is only about 150 health, so we have to find a way to drain that extra 50 away from the Boo.
Absolutely. And so, reminder here, we got Team A, got HD Lax over on Team A now playing Area 4. Team B, we got Joven, and Team C, we got Red. So, Joven there getting a couple seconds there on the Grimly. Grimly is another RNG factor that exists in this run. It can either be instantaneous or the other way around. It can either be instantaneous that he will show his health or not. So it will take it could take him up to 40 seconds. We've seen 40-second Grimleys before. It's kind of an extreme rarity, but it can happen. So it is another thing of gameplay that exists. Aishi's gonna make his way up now as well to take care of Grimly. All the runners there, as you can see, they're going to be pulling out their Game Boy Horror there. They've been doing this throughout the run because this actually does what we call scare skips. And for some reason in this game, as Aishi gets instinct run, what can happen is when you pull out the Game Boy Horror as a ghost spawns, or, you know, you have the Game Boy Horror out when a ghost spawns, Luigi actually doesn't get scared. So we use that to skip scare animations from Luigi because that does waste time. Aishi getting a nice Instagram though. That is super, super handy, as Joven's gonna be able to go through the drag strat and get the tech skip. We're gonna be seeing if Red can get it here.
Unfortunate luck for Red having the boo in the tablecloth there.
Yeah. Thing about tablecloth RNGs, it's really hard to do wall strat with this. You would prefer barrel RNG, especially if it's top barrel, because you can bait a charge that way, and that allows you to drain more health from Breaker Boo, as Red loses that, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, unfortunate luck for Red. We'll see how HD does with the boo.
See, HD, I think, got bottom barrel, so he's gonna wall strat it. He's a wall strat connoisseur. I don't believe he's getting this. That boo double cackled like 5 times. I think he also dropped an R input, so HD not getting that at all. It's gonna come down to whether or not he's gonna keep that or not, as we now have switched over to Red's POV, and we do have Red, who actually did get Breaker Boo. So I believe we're watching. Sorry, I did Breaker Boo. Red did get it, so
Nice.
as he gets a medium text, there are some text there. Some of the ones that are colored with red in it that are medium text are known as elemental texts, and we will know with lawn text because we'll get a lot of orange text, which talks about Bangor and all these other things that eGad just seems to always want to talk to us about. Not sure why, but you know, sometimes he does.
HD getting lucky, the boo switched back into the breaker room.
This is what we call the Blue Hits Bless. The Blue Hits Bless is exactly as Rios described. The boo from Breaker, when it leaves, returns to Break Room and does not go to Pipe Room, which would require us to get it later, as HD gets a medium text there. Joven making haste, running away with this so far as he is heading his way into the clockwork room, where we do have the 3 toy soldiers, where we go for strat runners at this level known as the toy soldier double. And basically the way this is going to work is both these ghosts are going to, both the green and the purple toy soldiers, the blue ones rather, are going to be coming up here. We're going to be pulling off both of their things. Oh my god, this is such a great suck up here. And we're going to be draining our health at the same time. It's extremely hard to get a good suck up with this because both of them will pull in different directions, much like Brockmire does. So it's really hard to maintain and extremely hard to drain health efficiently. But Joven there, getting a really great pull and a really great suck up there from both of them. I think
Making that look
Red's
easy.
gonna go for it as well. Extremely easy. Red, I believe, is going to set up for it here. He is. So you're going to see him walk behind both of them and then go for it as well. He's getting also a great suck up, but I don't know if that's going to break. No, he's good.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Great suck up there. He would have to, the green ghost would have to pull way more aggressively for that one to break. HD is going to go for it as well. So we're going to be seeing that here in a moment as well, as we're nearing the halfway point here of Area 4. We're going to be seeing these runners now go down from this rooftop and go downstairs to what we know as Armory Room, what is also referred to as the laggiest room in the game. The reason for that is because there's a lot of entities loaded inside of that room. Each one of the armor stands in there is active, so it requires the Wii and the GameCube to take a lot, and it's usually very laggy. This is really tough for HD, but I think he can make this work. Is all around's going to get the Toy Soldier double, so nicely done there. Really great showcase of a really difficult strat that has taken a long time to develop and optimize. Joven here is going for what we know as the Armory 5-piece. So there's like 6 ghosts in this room that you can get. And the way that we set this up is we will be stunning these ghosts with element over time and respawning all of them, and then we'll all clump them up together at once and get a big double, or get a big combo. But I think Joven's setup was too scuffed to make this work, so he's just going to opt for a double between this garbage ghost and this puncher, this purple puncher here. So making do with what he has.
Looks like Red is taking the safer approach to this room.
He is. He's doing the very standard armory 3-piece. You
Yep,
just do the
that's
armory
it.
triple here. You get rid of the garbage ghost.
Ooh.
You
Joven
get
losing
rid of.
that boo.
Yeah, he lost it. Oh my goodness, that left immediately up into Jarvis' room. So he's gonna have to force that one to go back down into Breaker. And this one's really hard to get from this end if you can't bait a charge. Is he going back up? He's
Oh
gonna
my
go.
goodness.
No,
Oh,
he's not gonna
okay.
go back up. But I don't. This could be really
Wow. Why
tricky
did
for
that
him
boo
to
not
get.
charge?
Boo charging is never a guarantee. As he's gonna have to 3-cycle. As he's
Yikes.
gonna have to 3-cycle armory Boo.
Looks
Oh
like Red is
man.
gonna pull ahead here.
Red is gonna pull ahead. As he is able to get the other.
Oh,
Oh, and that
Joven,
Boo's going
no.
left or right. That's really bad. If this Boo goes right again, he loses extreme amounts of time. Although it going left would lose far more time than it would going right. All right, that's
Okay,
gonna go up to
yeah.
the clockwork room. That's a lot of time lost there for Joven on an armory Boo 2-cycle, 3-cycle, whatever this Boo is supposed to be. HD got a charge there, so he's gonna be able to make do what he has, doing some art pumps here inside of this room, and he'll be able to get that Boo in a 1-cycle nicely
Nice,
done as
nice.
well. As Joven is going to be able to get that as well. Red making his way now into Pipe Room, or be seen. Just a quick thing about Pipe Room. We're not going to clear this room now. We're not going to go for the Boo. We're just going to freeze the water here. We're going to turn the water pipe off and get the heat the cold storage. HD and Joven will follow shortly behind as well.
So that puts Team A and Team B really close together now.
Extremely close.
But
Extremely close.
it's still anyone's game.
Red having some trouble there with the Crabber Ghosts as he couldn't get them to despawn at the time, so they are being an absolute nuisance right now as he's trying to continuously shake them off. They will despawn and stop giving him a hard time eventually, but it was very very unfortunate. Red now going up to the second to last portrait ghost of Luigi's Mansion, Sir Weston. Well, at least of this category. There are a couple optional ghosts that we don't go for that are existing in 100%, which will be seen just a short while here. Run is almost over here. This race is almost concluded. So Red on ahead for Team C here, but we will know from the real timers as well. Some of these probably aren't all synced up, so we will find out really shortly for sure. But it definitely looks like Red is pulling the most ahead, so Team C has the winning advantage here as we get to another one of the hard boos to 1-cycle known as Weston Boo. Weston Boos is hard because when slipping, it's just hard to keep it together, and that Boo is very susceptible to leaving after the last art pump. Weston's also one of those portrait ghosts that's really hard to 1-cycle because his pull is also extremely bad, and as well as being on ice, it makes the pull much harder to maintain. So you have to be really careful with that. As
Yeah, the
you see
ice
from
does not
Joven,
help. Yeah.
the ice does not help as Joven just wasn't able to keep a pull together enough to finish the 1-cycle. Gonna leave it at 7 HP as HD now gets to deal with the Western Boo here. Yeah, I mean, it's just one Gauntlet Boo after the next. You have Breaker Room Boo, you have Cellar Boo, which can be bad because of auto-locking. You have Armory Boo, which is bad because of the lag in that room. When you clear it, that room still has much lag, so it's easy for you to miss an R input or miss time an R input and will cause a Boo to leave. And Weston's Boo, because you just have to deal with the ice. It's
Yeah,
really, really unfortunate.
The
Now
only for sure boo is Vanguard Boo.
Vanguard Boo is very, very easy to get. It's just a simple, it's a 2-cycle Boo. Now, of course, we are now at the final portrait ghost here of Luigi's Mansion, known as Vincent Van Gogh. Gimmick of this fight is that he's going to be spawning waves of 3 of one specific ghost types. We're going to be seeing all the runners go for triples here on the Golden Ghost, the Punchers, the Twirlers, the Grabbers, the Shy Guys, garbage ghosts, and the ceiling surprises, which we barely seen in this game, because something you might have noticed the runners have been doing throughout the run is they'll hold in any dark hallway, they'll hold their flashlight up to the ceiling, and that is so the ceiling surprises don't spawn, because when you do spawn a ceiling surprise, it loses time, and they will not spawn under flashlight when it's raised up the ceiling. Some hallways have them, some don't. Most do, though. So they can lose you the most amount of time. That was a great suck up there from HD. I'm pretty sure that was like basically the instant Vanguard puncher triple with a good suck up, as Pablo calls it. Really nicely done there. I'm not sure if HD is going to go for the glitch PhD instant grabber triple. I don't think he is. He's going to do a quick setup for it, just try and get him to line it up. That's a really hard triple to go for if you go for the instant grabber triple. It's extremely hard to get a good suck up on that, let alone actually having your flashlight hit all three of them in the hitbox.
Their hitbox is really strange.
Red, now that everybody's got 40 boosts, they don't need to go for Vanguard forward. So what we can do here is just walk out of this room, and we can mirror warp from Safari Room down, and we can go fight King Boo. Oh boy, I'm excited.
King Boo, the last hurrah. Lots of things can go wrong here, so we'll see how it turns out for these teams.
Absolutely. King Boo is going to be really interesting. I believe HD is going to go for one cycle. Joven pretty much should go for one cycle. Red probably will go for one cycle. This is not a real race that he needs to care about, so I know that he will probably just go for it to showcase it. So one cycle. This was the time that we found out that there was only now one area boss that can't be one cycle. That was Chauncey. For a long time, it was Chauncey and King Boo that couldn't be one cycle, but we did find out through the tech of insta shots that we can actually blast Bowser's head off during the first King Boo cycle, and that gives us enough time to one cycle King Boo.
I still remember when it was discovered. It was a really big day when that happened.
It was the end of 2020, December, it was mid-December, late December, and we made the discovery, and it took us a while to actually put all the pieces together. It was a big community effort to get the one cycle finished on emulator, but we were able to quickly transfer that over to console and into runs and make it an RTA viable strat through setups and through time. So it has been one of the biggest things that has shifted the meta for end of the run, and it's definitely become the biggest run killer for high level PBs, because it does all matter down to the one cycle. So the way we're going to be seeing this is we're going to be seeing the runner set up with the Game Boy Horror to launch the spike ball at Bowser's head. It's going to launch it off earlier than we want it to, because we're going to be doing what's called Insta Shot, where we let go of the bomb and it launches the direction we want it to. And then as we're dragging King Boo from around 500 HP down to 400, we're going to be setting up to pull him up to a specific corner where we can launch another ball up at Bowser's head, and that gives us enough time to get King Boo through the rest of his 400 HP. As Joven, I don't think Joven didn't grab Van Gorky. That's really interesting. Red is not going to go for King Boo one cycle. He's just going to go for Insta Shot 2 cycle there. But yeah, Joven did not grab Van Gorky. He actually just didn't. He's going to have to do Van Gor again because he didn't save anywhere. Oh, Red's going for standard too. He's not even going for insta shots. So Red's grabbing that ball and he's going to pull it over to not directly in front of, but the side of King Boo there. HE going for the insta shots. I believe he's going to go for the one cycle. So Red's going to secure the win here in a second. So get ready for time on Red. And time. Time for Red. That's a 57-51. HD trying to go for the insta shot there on the second bomb, but
the wall there.
Locked into it. So that is a very common case where the Boo will actually, or King Boo, is a common thing that can happen. You will bounce into that bomb. So HG's got to make do here with some sort of scuff 3 cycle, as Joven has to redo Van Gor. So You're going to be seeing HD actually opt to make sure that King Boo leaves before he dips below the 200 HP, and that's because when King Boo dips below 200 HP, when King Boo returns to Bowser, Bowser's head will go on backwards, and he will run around aimlessly until he's ready to turn his head around, which loses more time and causes more issues for his angle, which makes it much harder to actually get a bomb in a good place to shoot a bomb at Bowser's head. And time for HD. It's 58.50 to us, but we'll see what it is for them. So still a really good run, and still lots of things showcased from all the runners. So I'm really, really happy with how that's turned out. As we could see Joven do Van Gogh again, so that's gonna be fun. Going for Shy Guys again. We'll see if he gets the one cycle. That'll be really fun to see if he gets it. Unfortunately,
Bonus
that
points
Joven,
if he does.
yeah, bonus points if he gets it. Bonus clout because he needs that. Yeah, really unfortunate. So if you don't grab that key, you're not gonna be able to actually unlock the door to the altar, and so you have to go all the way back upstairs. And Joven just opted to redo this because I'm pretty sure that's actually faster than having to walk all the way through the basement, all the way back upstairs like that. Although I'm probably wrong. It's probably a bit slower. So now he's gonna grab this key and he'll be able to go downstairs. Joven also didn't do map glitch. So for those who don't know, at the beginning, before you actually launch the game, before any of us do runs, what we will do ahead of time is we will go into the training room or go to Toad, and the same frame that text box appears and we reset the game, or that something like that. Basically, what will end up happening is we disable the same frame that we pull up the the map menu and reset the console, or reset the game rather. What ends up happening is the map's just disabled, and so that saves time from when you grab keys and stuff and all that fun stuff. Joven didn't do that here, so we're just seeing him spam quickly on B and mashing it. I believe he's actually done now, but we'll see him finish here in a minute. Unless he's sitting through the King Boo cutscene, which I'm pretty sure he is.
Still remember when this one cycle was first found. The world records for like almost all the categories seem to fall like so quickly.
It definitely changed a lot. I mean, it definitely showed that sub 8 would eventually become possible, which for the any percent category, which actually as of a couple days ago has become possible. Pablo was able to secure a 759, a low 759 in that category, which is huge, and that's been in part to what he calls task 1 cycle. Basically, task 1 cycle is what happens when you launch the ball at a specific time. Bowser will keep it's faster, but Bowser will keep one ball in his hand, and if you can't one cycle when you have Bowser in that position, that actually soft locks the game. And so that's ultimately faster, but it's still pretty tough to go for. Joven getting an insta shot here. Joven's worst enemy is definitely getting the second one. He bosses the second one all the time, so let's see if he gets it. Oh, he is. What a great shot. So there you can see the second shot there. What we want King Boo here to do is to ride low on the ground, and we will avoid trying to walk into him to avoid crown thefting. But if he rides too high, he'll leave too early. So we'll start art pumping there. And Joven going to secure a one cycle there on time.
And that's time.
Yeah, it's time for him. So it's 102.43-ish. So still really nice. So I'm going to pull everybody in here and let's talk about it. Let's talk about this stuff.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
GG's, everybody.
GG.
Yeah, GG's.
That was so crazy at the end.
That was fun. Did you pick the wrong file, or did you actually forget to give Van Gogh key?
Dude, I don't want to. Okay, so 2 times in Area 4. Well, I had my file in the third file, and I forgot to switch it to the first file. So 2 times I accidentally went into first file. So that time, for some reason I thought I was in the wrong file, so I restarted the game, and then I was like, wait, I didn't save. Last time I saved it at Weston, so I had to redo Van Gore. It just wasn't good. Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
But
honestly,
GG regardless.
Mm-hmm.
GG's.
we in like area 3, after area 3, we were like pretty convinced we were gonna lose, and even after
Yeah.
area 2, like after area 2, we thought we were just trying to not get last.
The entire time we were making fun of Lando.
Oh
We
my
kind of
God.
were, because he did, dude. He had like it kind of was just us coping though,
Oh boy, that's fun.
but we won anyway, so we can't be too upset about his performance.
IRL
Yeah,
fellas, how you
exactly.
feeling?
IRL fellows.
I guess
See
you're
there.
just not there.
They're so disappointed that
They
they didn't
dipped.
want to see.
They dipped to go shrink
Can you
already.
hear me?
Yeah, they're already
Hello?
gone.
Yeah,
Oh, we can
hello.
hear
Where's
you.
the scream at?
Might be an echo.
Well,
There's no
GG.
echo. I think you're good.
Okay, what's up?
That was fun though.
Very
Yeah,
good.
we had a
blast doing it.
I had a
it's
fantastic
fun.
early game. Aside from
Yeah, dude, you were
walking
popping
through the,
off.
I walked through the right door in parlor and I was like, oh yeah, baby, it's gonna be good.
You should have seen. You should have seen.
Dude, Bliss got second try boo in area 3 for every boo except Nana. It was terrible. Like that area 3 was horrible.
Bro,
Bro,
that
he got twin double. He
was good, man. I was
did
surprised.
everything he could.
Dude, my
Well,
losses kind of carried me.
That blue losses was disgusting.
Was
My
clean.
area 4 was literally incredible. The only mistake was me forgetting to go into altar. I just went through the cutscene, just waited there for a couple of seconds because I forgot to go in there.
Yeah, I'm just glad you got
Dang.
2 cycle in this situation.
Listen, Dev. All right. That was a 1 in a trillion.
I will say, playing on Bliss's setup, it was a little weird because he has a bigger latency issue than I do, so there's more delay on his monitor.
Bliss plays in like the dark, dude. Like you can't like them rooms are so dark on his screen. Like I play in light mode. He's playing in dark mode. He's doing something different.
Overall, I don't feel like my gameplay was hindered too much, but it was a pretty
I had a pretty
good thing to get used to.
I had pretty good RNG, I would say, in area 2. I'd be happy with my
Yeah,
area.
you were
2 run.
kind of going off in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying really hard. I was leaning forward,
You
palm
showed.
sweaty,
Oh,
palm spaghetti.
And apparently, when they switched, you guys saw my face, so that was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're beautiful,
Yeah.
dude. I
It was
love
nice,
that.
man.
Dude, I missed it.
Lando
Yeah,
and
It
I.
was so fantastic.
Lando and
I was
I.
like, holy crap, it's Blazer, dude.
Streaming off the phone, it was scary because like my phone was draining, and like I was at 1% at like losses, and I was like, please stay until Joven, please stay, bro, because like
Yeah, I
had
was just waiting for your phone to fall over, and we just see like your under chin or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna fall.
Displays your games, playing in his underwear.
Yeah, GG's. That was a lot of fun.
GG's, I had a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for racing, guys. That was a lot of fun.
That was a
Absolutely.
lot of fun.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Thanks for the
course.
last minute setup for me, man. Sorry for
Yeah,
us.
Blazer, you betrayed us, bro. Like,
I had to. I don't know. I was just substituted for Flock.
Red.
I didn't
yeah,
know.
It was-
I
it
know
was
what you
red.
did. You DDoS Rogers out so you could get on their team instead.
Bro, who cares, bro? You guys won, so
Yeah, we got
saying.
last.
if I was on your team, you probably would have lost because I was on the losing team.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
You
but if
still- you
Lando,
guys
we would have played
pretty
against
well.
Lando when he was on the winning team, so it would have evened out.
True. It would have been
Uh,
balanced.
I think if you played Area 1 and 2, you would have done a better job than Lando.
Bruh.
Dang. Okay.
No, I but
This is kind of this is the kind of thing that would happen in that entire time.
but if we actually like if the three of us, if we did this again and we like actually grind for a good time, I think we could collectively get 56. That'd be fun to try.
Yeah, that'd
So
be,
I think it's
that'd be-
possible.
since I was originally on your team, does that mean I win?
No.
Yep.
I mean, we got
you
one
just-
cycle
you
though.
backstabbed us.
You did get one cycle, but you also had to play Van Gore twice, so you add that cycle on the King Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Joven thought he was in the wrong. He was in the wrong file like 3 times.
That's why you should have copied the file 1.
I know.
Forgot to do that.
You forgot map glitch as well.
Yes,
Yeah, I
say that.
forgot basically everything. I forgot how
I
to
was
do
gonna make a
armory, I
reminder
forgot
for
how to
Map
do
Glitch.
I
one
forgot who he
cycle
was
Weston.
for that run.
Well,
I didn't know who I was.
Alright.
Like, who am I?
Are you Mafia?
Yeah, are you Mafia?
Yeah, Mafia.
All right. Anyway,
Yeah, he's Mafia.
the Honda race is gonna start soon, right? Me,
Yeah, so-
Lando, and Joven.
Yes.
So we're gonna take a quick intermission break, and we will return to you guys with the 100% race between Joven, Lando, Saria. Stay tuned, everybody.